Good afternoon. We today are in Brockton, Massachusetts, and I am at the childhood home of Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano fought in the 50s, like from 1949 to 1956. He was the heavyweight champion of the world, and he is the only heavyweight champion of the world to be undefeated. He went 49 wins with no losses. He retired to Fort Lauderdale. Can't blame him. You grow up in Massachusetts and you're cold all the time. And he ended up, he got into a plane crash. He was in a private plane, and the plane went down in Iowa. And he passed away in the plane crash. So he was still fairly young. I think he was about 46 years old when he passed away. So he was very young. He didn't have a lot of time to enjoy the money that he earned as a fighter. But I just thought it would be interesting to see the only undefeated heavyweight champion of the world's boyhood home, in the park where he played, in the house where he grew up. And perhaps next month I'm going to Florida. Maybe I'll stop by Fort Lauderdale and see his house in Fort Lauderdale. But this is the house where he grew up. It's a two-family now, but his family, he had an extended family at 168 Dover Street in Brockton, Massachusetts. And I'm about, well, I can see it from here, so it's right there, the two-family. I'm about to see that now, so I'm going to go over there and take a look. So this is 168 Dover. This was Rocky Marciano's childhood home. This is where he grew up. He went to high school at Brockton High School, and this is where he lived. And you can see here, I'm sure they don't want me walking on the lawn. Rocky Marciano, boyhood home. So you can picture Rocky as a high school kid coming out that door and going over to the park to play. And this is Marciano Way. They named the street after him, which is awfully nice. It's a fairly big house. He actually had it pretty good as a kid, right across the street from the park. Yeah, nice. Reminds me of a New Orleans house. That's second floor balcony. Nice little neighborhood. From what I understand too, Rocky was a great baseball player. So I can only imagine that he played ball here as a kid, because this park was here when he was a kid. So that's the Rock's house. 49 wins, no losses. KO'd everybody he fought. KO is a knockout. Nobody lasted with the Rock. Nice neighborhood. So this is a nice little neighborhood. Rocky. Marciano. And I was talking to a couple of people who live next door, and this indeed was the park where Rocky Marciano played baseball when he was a kid. And he was a very good baseball player. Matter of fact, that's what he was thinking of doing before he took up boxing. "49 wins, no losses, all knockouts. Everybody who he fought, he knocked out." And this is Rocky Marciano's boyhood park where he played baseball. And I'll tell you what, not bad if you live in, you play baseball. You got your buddies, your little buddies. There's his house. He walks right across the street. He's at a park. I mean, as a kid, what more do you need? And this is, from what I understand, exactly the way it was when he was a kid growing up in Brockton, Massachusetts. He was called the Brockton Blockbuster. Now, this is a big thrill for me because I used to be a professional boxer. I was a better amateur. I had 295 wins and 5 losses. I went to the U.S. Nationals 3 times. And so this is a big deal for me. I turned pro. I had 3 wins, 1 loss. 2 wins, 1 loss. And that was it for me for boxing. I was on ESPN. I fought at Resorts International in Atlantic City. And unfortunately, I got stopped right on ESPN, and that was enough for me to call it quits. So being at Rocky Marciano's boyhood home in his neighborhood where he was walking around when he was a kid, this is a big deal for me. Yeah, it's a big deal. Let's see what's up here. Here's a plaque for the Rock right here. See if we can see this better. The Brockton Blockbuster, undefeated, 49-0, 1952 to 1956. He defeated Joe Louis, the most outstanding athlete ever come from Brockton. But there was a middleweight champion of the world who's in the Hall of Fame, the Boxing Hall of Fame. His name was Marvin Hagler. And I believe he only had 3 losses, Marvin Hagler. And he retired after he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard. Marvin Hagler did. He retired after he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard. He never fought again. He moved to Italy, became an actor, and then he moved to New Hampshire. And that's where he lived in retirement until he actually had a heart attack a couple of years ago and passed away, unfortunately. And he was fairly young. He was in his 60s. Yeah, it's a shame. But Marvin Hagler was one of the greatest middleweights that ever lived, and he came from Brockton. I don't know exactly where he lived, but I used to spar with Marvin back in the day, and his half-brother, Robbie Sims, who was also fought for the middleweight title. And there's the Rock's house. I made one mistake, so I'm going to clarify that. Rocky Marciano had 49 wins, no losses. He had 43 by knockout. He'd knock everybody out. There were 6 people who survived in the ring with Rocky Marciano. So if you survived with Rocky Marciano, if you're one of those 6 people, you were one of the few. So anyways, The Rock did retire to Florida. His wife passed away shortly after him from lung cancer. He had 2 children, Mary Ann and his adopted son Rocky. And I know that Mary Ann had quite a bit of trouble in Florida with the law. She had some issues. Yeah, so Rocky really didn't knock out everybody, but I mean, listen, the only person who came close to a knockout percentage that Rocky had was Joe Louis, and Rocky beat Joe Louis, knocked him out. So if you were one of the 6 that survived, you had to be really good. Anyway, I'm off to go eat. Let's see what we find around here. Brockton, Massachusetts. Okay, I'm at Texas Roadhouse in Brockton. So it looks extremely crowded. Let's see if I can get a seat. We'll see what happens. I'd really like a steak, and I like Texas Roadhouse. I know that they're a chain, but I like them. So let's see what we can do. I'm going in now. Love the rolls and the butter. I ordered the sirloin, 8 ounce, extra thick cut. With these rolls, with a lot of butter on them. I love these rolls. Look at the butter. Look at the butter dripping off of it. So this is the thick cut steak. I was thinking it was going to be a little bit more than this. This is kind of, one more. This is kind of small, but let's see how it tastes. Very good, thank you. And here I am at the Rocky Marciano Stadium, where the Brockton High School Boxers play baseball and football. Well, actually no, just football, the Brockton Boxers football team. But as you can see, this is now called Rocky Marciano Stadium. Armin Colombo Field, who was the Brockton High School football coach for a long time. And you can see, if you can see it, oh, hold on, I think we can get through here. We have a sculpture or a statue of Rocky Marciano, and it is huge. So here it is, Rocky Marciano, undefeated world heavyweight champion with a perfect record of 49-0. Now Floyd Mayweather, who was, I think, a lightweight, was 50-0, but he wasn't a heavyweight, and heavyweights punch a lot harder, let me tell you that. The Brockton Bomber, the Rocky statue, is a gift to the city of Brockton, Mass by the WBC president, Jose Sullivan. And here it is, and this is, I'll tell you what, this is a huge statue. I mean, I don't think I can I get it in? All right, and there's Rocky, and actually that face looks just like Rocky, to tell you the truth. And this is the field. And here is your Rocky statue. Ali Colombo, in memory of his dedication to the sport of boxing as a trainer of world heavyweight champion Rocky Marciano, Ali Colombo. And he also had a relative, Arnold Colombo, who was the longest reigning Brockton high school football coach that they've had. Let's see what they have over here. Derek Andrade, a proud Brocktonian, he carried on the traditions and values of his grandfather and father at Everett's. Derek served with great honor in the United States Marines, 1972 to 2017. So this is where the Brockton Boxers play, and I'll tell you what, they're a very, very good football team. They win state championships, and what I read in the newspaper all the time. Between them and East Boston, it's a tie as to who's the best. So here we are at the Rocky Marciano Stadium, and this is the statue of Rocky. 49 wins, no losses. Only 6 people survived getting knocked out by this guy. So they had to be very good. Well, it's a beautiful stadium. I'll tell you what, if I was going to play football, high school football, this would be it. All right, and for today, the day before Memorial Day, this is gonna do it. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get at least 50 subscribers, because YouTube says you need at least 50 subscribers to go live, and I'd love to do live videos. So if you have it in your heart, tell your friends, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the video, and I'm doing the best I can. So if you could help me out, I'd appreciate it. With that being said, over and out. So I figured I'd make one more stop. When I was 17 years old, this is the gym that I trained at. Now there's another gym. The original gym is on Main Street. That's when I was 15 years old. I would train there, and I won the Junior Olympics, and I went to the Junior Olympic Nationals in Colorado Springs, Colorado, Olympic Boxing Training Center. Excuse me, Squaw Valley Olympic Training Center. And I think that was like 1980. And now they fixed this building up, because it was a dump even when I was fighting. And this is where I used to go up these stairs here and go up to the top floor. And that's where Marvin Hagler trained, and his brother, Robbie Sims. And now they're apartment buildings, it looks like. But back in the day, this building was practically falling down. The Petronellis, who I fought for, Goody Petronelli and Pat Petronelli, owned the building. And they call this now Petronelli Way. This is Petronelli Way. The Brockton Enterprise was over here somewhere. But they fixed this building up, made it apartments. It was really a dump. I mean, it was really falling down. They had rats and everything. But it was like something out of the movie Rocky. But that's where I used to train. And I sparred Marvin Hagler, his brother Robbie Sims. And this was the second Petronelli gym. The first one was on Main Street. That was the original one where Marvin trained when he walked up to those stairs when he was, I think he was like 16 or 17 years old himself when he first started boxing. That was Main Street. Then they moved over to here. Vinnie Vecchione owned this gym, and the Petronellis bought the building and opened up their own gym here. Peter McNeely
fought for Vinny Vecchione, and he fought Mike Tyson, and that's where he trained. But the Petronellis bought it in the end, and this is where I used to train. This is where Marvin Hagler trained, and a fighter called Robbie Sims. You can look them up, you can Google them. And this building looks totally different. It was literally falling down, but this brings back a lot of memories because I was just a little kid. I was 16 years old when I used to box Marvin Hagler. Used to spar with him, and I had some real wars in this gym. Steve Collins, who was the middleweight champion of the world, I used to spar him here until he moved back to Ireland. So just figured I'd show you this. Just brings back a lot of memories for me.